So it adds to it. And like you said, your current clients might have been like, oh my God, Izzy, but you learned so much from that. You've grown into this incredible person because of that post. Whether you see that as a mistake, a stepping stone on your journey, an actual revelatory moment, whatever you see it as, you can't regret that moment because, you know, it's turned you to who you are now. And I feel like now you really do look after yourself. And I feel like you spend a lot of time doing that. And I definitely want to talk about that because I think that burnout, whether you call it burnout, you said, whether you use the depression word, whatever you call it, I think everyone's so quick to self-diagnose these days. But let's just call it being tired because, you know,
exhausted,
exactly, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, cream crackered. Like, let's just say, like, sometimes I feel cream crackered. How do you manage being a business, managing all this stuff and balancing, like, whether you call it work-life balance, whatever you call it, and you know, stay present with your mind as well?
So I put it down to a couple of things. Now, between now and last August, I've had a mountain of success in sort of the client work, the businesses I work with, in comparison to previous years where it was constantly chasing the pipeline, stressing, going to bed, going, am I going to be able to pay the bills this month? Or, you know, when's the next sale coming in? I think that's what agency life doesn't tell you when you go, yeah, I'm going to start an agency, because that pipeline always needs to be ready for when one door closes, another's got to be open, and you're so stressed, and it's like your cortisol levels are constantly high, and you're struggling with sleep. Maybe you're overeating because you're an emotional person, or undereating because that's just something that you're not attuned to, and it's impacting your personal life. So yes, last September, August time, I hired an accountability coach. And as someone with ADHD and neurodivergent traits, executive function hasn't always been on my strong point. Understanding that from sort of my education days, first initial job. And rather than using that as an excuse for perhaps not facing obstacles as easily, I had to find a solution. And for the last 8 to 9 months, working with an accountability coach has helped me eat those typical frogs in our week, reframe my perspective on things, but also incorporate more personal habits into my schedule. And that comes down to a work-life integration, not a work-life balance, because I feel like so many people go, yeah, work-life balance is so important. The amount of posts that are put up daily, weekly, whatever, about finding that work-life balance and making sure we look after our mental health and self-care. That is the dream. That's an ideal world. But we're not living in our dream world, are we? We need to find something that integrates with how busy we are in our business, especially for like CEOs and big agency owners and people who run a team like yourself. I'm fortunate that I don't run a team, but it's very unlikely you're going to find work-life balance when you've got 10 plus employees and you're managing 10 other projects. And when you get home at night, you're not going to stick on Netflix and your work brain's not going to be off just as much as your content brain never switches off. So finding habits that work in my personal life and bleed into my professional life has really helped. I'm making sure I'm getting 10k steps a day. It's the small things, but that's an hour and a half of walking. Do you have that time? A lot of people don't. And there are ways. You've got to look at ways and systems of incorporating that. Reading, meditation, visualization, all of these small things that maybe take 10-15 minutes have had huge impacts on how I turn up to sales calls. Going and sit on a panel or a podcast like this has massively helped with those actions.